So, what should you be doing with your interest rates at the moment? It's the end of February. We are post OCR drop on the 18th. We have got a bunch of banks having changed rates. What's going on? What should you be doing? So, start off with, we had an OCR drop of 0.5%. That has prompted all the banks to drop their floating rates, and they've also mostly dropped their short-term and mid-term rates as well. So now where that's kind of sitting is 6-month rates are sitting between sort of 5.69 and 5.8, depending a little bit on the bank. And then the 1-year rates are sitting around about that 5.2%. And then most of the banks have now got 2 years at 4.99%. So there's quite a few things to consider here when it comes to what the best rate is for you. And the first questions we're asking people are, is there going to be any changes in your situation in the next 6, 12, maybe 24 months? If there is, a 2-year rate is possibly not the greatest of options. If you're going to try and sell, if you've got changes in income, if there are business purchases on the horizon, all of those kind of things can impact what your rate might be doing. Conversely, if you need the cheapest rate and you are pretty set and you don't think you're going to be making big changes, then a 2-year rate could be something to consider. When we're looking at the 1 year and the 6 month, there's some considerations there around the trajectory of rates. So for us at the moment, we're expecting rates to continue to drop by probably 0.25 in April and possibly another 0.25 mid-year. And that's probably going to mean that by the time we get to sort of September, October, we're going to be looking at cheaper rates. So for some people, again, if you're happy paying that slightly higher repayment, a 6-month rate isn't a bad option. Probably not the right option if you're under a little bit of payment pressure or you're expecting some changes like adding to your family or changes to income that might be making that a little bit more expensive. The 1-year rate is now sitting just over 5%. So it's still a pretty good rate, still pretty in line with the average over the last couple of years. And that one's a good one if you want a little bit more certainty than a 6-month option. However, in that second 6 months, there's probably unlikely to be further drops. So I think that's really important to consider as well. Probably the biggest thing we're saying to people is you do need to get independent advice. So ideally, if there hasn't been any big changes and you're not making big changes, then considering which of those 3 options could be right for you is important. The last thing we'll say is that your bank may not always be the best bank for you. So it's important to look at, are there some other options? Is it time to look at those? Is it time to change up your loan product? If you're not sure, chat to one of us, chat to one of the advisors, jump in and book a call on our contact page. You'll jump in with the next available advisor and you can have a yarn about what fits for you and your situation and set you up for success with interest rates in 2025.